Hello and welcome back to Curious Minds, Infinite Answers. I hope everybody had a wonderful holiday and everybody is back home safe and sound, celebrating this brand new year we've just stepped into, slowly but surely getting back into the routines, or perhaps making some new ones. Thanks for being here today and tuning in.
Welcome, humans, and any celestial body else out there listening. This is Curious Minds, Infinite Answers. I'm your host,
Courtney Christine Koskin.
This podcast, simply put, is a mix of human curiosity and how, with the help of AI technology, curious minds can get the answers we seek. Let's get mind-bending and plunge deep beneath the surface of our everyday thoughts. Let's begin.
It's a good feeling to know your smile is welcome. Your whisper, soft and pure. This is the security clean white teeth give. And whiter teeth is what this toothpaste is for. New McLean's. Gets teeth irresistibly white.
Can you imagine waking up to a world where no one is trying to sell you anything? No toothpaste ads convincing you that your smile is your ticket to success. No influencers subtly slipping in #ad between relatable posts, no telemarketers cold calling, and no sports games being one giant advertisement for whoever is sponsoring the team or game. What would that feel like? Quiet? Freeing? Maybe even unsettling? Before I get into the whole of this and ruffle some feathers, I want to be the first to admit, I've been the seller. I've had the job of creating ad campaigns at a fine DC-based ad agency. And these days, I am literally in the process of praying to the YouTube algorithm gods so I can get my channel monetized. Look, I'm not hating. Creating ads is an art. Someone's got to do it. After all, it is the world we live in. But I do also believe in there being a difference between someone selling with good intentions and someone selling at the expense of others for personal gain and profit. This curious question today was prompted by my growing intolerance of aggressive selling every waking moment. It's everywhere, all the time, and even more so during the holidays. God bless it. Anyway, so here I am, thinking, or dreaming rather, wondering what life would be like if people were never sold to. If it was just up to us to figure out what product we wanted without being convinced by someone else. I know what you're thinking. My God, how would we connect? How would economies survive? Well, buckle up and let's take this thought bubble for a ride. The constant sell. Let's face it, we live in a world drenched in selling.
Sunday at Smokin' US 30 drag strip. Watch the back.
From the moment you open your eyes, someone, somewhere is trying to convince you to buy, believe in, or want something. It's the commercials between your favorite TV shows, the sponsored posts in your feed, even the subtle personal branding we do on dating apps, social apps, and job interviews. And how about those little blue check marks that prove we are even more officially credible and human than without one? Don't get me wrong, guilty. And I know we're paying for a couple other perks with that little blue check. Oh, and these apps.
Downloads for free today.
We literally pay for music and TV streaming services, and then we pay again just to get them without ads. Well, all except for one time a year for the big game. Touchdown! Everyone is trying to get ad-free. In other thoughts, I have a theory that e-commerce didn't close down the malls. It was in fact those middle-of-the-walkway kiosk guys. No, I don't want to try your special lotion. Okay, maybe it was e-commerce. But still, it's really annoying, and I'm not the kind of person that's going to totally blow you off and pretend you don't exist. I will literally, out of the empathy in my heart, explain to you why I'm not interested, but thank you and wish you good luck with the sale. But why do we even have to go through all that? Oh, and holy spam.
You've got mail.
I'm just going to leave that one right there. In your inbox, both on your phone, your email, and in your mailbox. I used to get excited when I checked the mail. Coupons are cool though, you can keep those coming. It's hard to imagine life without selling because it's so baked into our daily lives. So I pose this question. Is selling just a part of the human experience? Or is it a system we've created and then convinced ourselves we can't live without? Especially if you're the seller. the history of selling. So, how did we actually get here? Just humor me, more than half of us know how we got here. All right then. In taking a brief walk down history lane, I'm going to focus on the United States and not get into communism, feudalism, and all that fun stuff. Maybe leave that for another day. Selling hasn't always been the all-encompassing force it is today. In fact, the idea of selling as we know it has evolved dramatically over time. And this is the nutshell version of how. In ancient times, selling was a much simpler affair. People bartered goods directly. You had grain, I had goats, we swapped. There were no jingles or slogans involved, just the basic needs of survival. But as societies grew and grew more complex, so did trade. Ancient markets became hubs of commerce where goods from distant lands were exchanged, often accompanied by haggling and persuasion. The first real leap in selling came with the invention of money. Yay! Suddenly, transactions didn't have to be a direct swap. This allowed for greater flexibility and specialization, and it introduced the idea of profit. Fast forward a lot to the Industrial Revolution, and selling took on a whole new form. Mass production created a flood of products, and companies needed a way to stand out. Enter advertising. The late 19th and early 20th centuries saw the birth of modern advertising, print ads, billboards, and radio jingles designed to grab attention and make you feel something. By the 1950s, TV turned selling into an art form, with commercials weaving stories around products to create emotional connections. And then came the internet, and things absolutely exploded. Today, selling is everywhere. It's not just in ads. It's in social media posts, podcasts, but not mine, yet. Unless you want to Venmo me a gift for these audio entertaining episodes, that'd be at CCC1985. On Venmo. Not selling, just throwing it out there into the ether. Even the way we brand ourselves professionally, the line between selling and simply existing has blurred. To understand why selling dominates, we need to dig into the psychology behind it. Selling taps into primal instincts that have been with us for thousands of years. Number one, scarcity, or as we like to call it in the 21st century, FOMO, the fear of missing out. It's rooted in survival. When something is scarce, our brains scream, "Get it before it's gone!" Number two, social proof. Humans are wired to follow the crowd. If everyone else loves a product, we think it must be good. That's why you'll see phrases like bestseller or over 1 million sold. Next, we have aspirations. Selling isn't just about the product. It's about the version of yourself you could become. A luxury car isn't just a car. It's success, it's status, and freedom. Here's another thought. Why do people pay $7 for a latte at a trendy coffee shop when they can make coffee at home for pennies in comparison? Because it's not just about the coffee. It's about the vibe. The coffee shop has sold you an image of yourself as someone chic, relaxed, and successful. So just remember, that double chocolate chunk muffin you just bought to go with your morning coffee? Yeah, that's cake, rebranded and sold as breakfast. And let's not forget nostalgia. Remember cereal ads as a kid? They didn't just sell sugary flakes and tiny marshmallows. They sold happiness, independence, Saturday mornings, and cartoon adventures. Selling isn't just about money. It's about emotion. And that's why it works so well. So let's play out imagining the sell-free world. What if we removed selling entirely? No more ads, no more pitches, no more subtle nudges to open your wallet. What could potentially change? Number one, consumerism declines. Without persuasion, people would likely buy only what they truly need. That means less waste, less debt, and a slower, more sustainable pace of life. Number two, creativity flourishes. Without the pressure to monetize every hobby, people might feel freer to create art, write stories, or start projects just for the joy of it. Number three, genuine connections. Relationships might feel more authentic if no one is trying to sell an image of themselves. Think about it. How many social interactions are subtly transactional? And number 4, freedom of choice. Decisions would be made without manipulation. Imagine buying a car because it genuinely meets your needs, not just because an ad convinced you that unless you buy it, your dreams will never fully be realized. Of course, it's not all roses. I'm sure you could fill in this next section with ease. Without selling, economies as we know them would collapse because entire industries, advertising, retail, marketing, rely on persuading people to buy. What happens when demand dries up? And what about the thrill of discovery? Imagine never stumbling across a product or service that changes your life simply because no one told you it existed. Selling, for all its flaws, has a way of connecting us to ideas, innovations, and solutions we didn't even know we needed. So, could we survive without selling? Let's get real. Could we even function without selling? The answer is complicated. Here's what might happen. Without selling, demand would shrink dramatically. That means fewer jobs and industries tied to consumer goods. Innovation would surely slow. Without marketing to push new ideas, fewer innovations might gain traction. Think about how many tech breakthroughs started with a killer pitch. Well, bartering could return. In a self-free world, we might revert to barter systems, trading goods and services directly. But that comes with its own set of challenges. Like, what happens when you have eggs and the person you're trading with only wants bread? And let's not forget, selling isn't always about products. It's ideas, movements, and change. Some might say the civil rights movement? That was selling a vision of equality. Or climate activists, selling hope and urgency. Selling at its core is about persuasion, and persuasion shapes history. But I'll circle back to this radical idea. What if economies didn't rely on selling for profit? What if they focused on creating value for communities instead? Let's explore some alternatives to selling. Universal Basic Income, or UBI. Ooh, so many people just turned this podcast off and unsubscribed. As a refresher, this is a program where everyone, regardless of their income, job status, or background, receives a set amount of money from the government on a regular basis. This payment is unconditional, meaning you don't have to meet any requirements like working or proving financial need to receive it. Think of it as a financial safety net for everyone. The goal of UBI is to reduce poverty, give people a sense of financial stability, and allow them the freedom to pursue education, creativity, or work they truly care about without worrying about basic survival needs. It's like everyone getting an equal starting point, ensuring the basics of life like food, shelter, and healthcare are more accessible. With a guaranteed income, people wouldn't need to sell constantly. In short, they could focus on meaningful work and creative pursuits. And that's universal basic income, for those of you who are still with me. Second, we've got collaborative consumption. Imagine a world where sharing and borrowing replace buying. Need a drill? Borrow one from a community tool library instead of buying one you'll use twice. Pretty cool. I think there are some websites that do promote that. Next, we've got purpose-driven businesses. This sounds nice. Here, companies could prioritize solving real problems over maximizing profit. Think about organizations that provide clean water, renewable energy, or affordable housing. A current example that comes to mind is a company like Patagonia, which makes outdoor clothing while committing to environmental sustainability. They donate a portion of profits to conservation efforts and use recycled materials in their products. They balance earning money with addressing societal or environmental challenges, aligning their operations with values that resonate with customers and stakeholders. It works because customers are more likely to support brands that align with their values, creating a loyal customer base. Solving real-world problems creates a sense of trust and goodwill that builds long-term brand strength. And next we have barter networks. Modern technology could make bartering more efficient, connecting people with complementary needs and skills. We'll leave it at that. And lastly, community-centered innovation. What if businesses were rewarded not for profits, but for their contributions to social well-being? Imagine startups competing to create the most accessible healthcare or the greenest energy solutions. Kind of sounds similar to the purpose-driven businesses. Maybe they should collaborate. I know, these ideas might sound utopian, but they're not entirely unrealistic. We've already seen shifts in this direction with the rise of the sharing economy and social enterprises. Even now, people are creating spaces where value isn't defined by dollars, but by impact. At its core, selling isn't inherently bad. It's a way to connect, share, and solve problems. But when it becomes the center of everything, when life becomes one big pitch, we lose sight of what truly matters. So in closing, if I'm not just talking to myself here in a padded room, here's the challenge. Next time you're about to buy something, ask yourself, do I need this? Or am I being sold the idea of needing it? And beyond that, think about how we can build a world where connection and value matter more than the sell. Imagine a world where the most valuable currency isn't money, but trust. Where the best pitch is simply being human. That's not just a thought experiment. It's a vision worth striving for. What do you think? Could we survive without selling? Or is it too ingrained in who we are? Reach out, share your ideas, and let's keep this conversation going. Otherwise, it'll just be me, texting myself. Until next time, stay curious, stay thoughtful, and maybe stay a little skeptical of the sell. Thank you for tuning in to Curious Minds, Infinite Answers. I'm Courtney Christine Koskin, and I hope you'll join me for next week's episode as we proceed down the path of curiosity and discovery, uncovering various topics along the way. If you have any comments or want answers to your burning curiosities, drop me a line in the comments below. Until we meet again, find the good in the world, and if you can't find it, be the good.